Namaste. Many a times people think that I don't have any ego, but that is not possible. As long as you are staying in this material world, ego is going to be there. It can be less, but it always is there. Please try to understand this. Because ego is your mind. The moment there is no ego, there is no mind. So you enter the stage of Buddha. So it is a very high stage. And so when people think or when people believe that I don't have any ego, that itself is an illusion, a maya. Even thinking that I don't have any ego is an ego itself. So understand this, that ego always remains. How much is something that you can work on? You understand? How much? The lesser, the better. That is fine. That is being practical. But saying something that I don't have any ego and I am like this and I am like that, it's all fake. Makes no sense. But people don't like to listen to the truth. Anyways, so in this podcast, I have precisely talked on moon in Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra. Uttara Phalguni is ruled by sun. When it comes to sun, it also brings the question of ego, because sun brings mahatvakanksha, meaning ambition. And when there is ambition, there is bound to be a big fat ego. So in this podcast, I have talked about Uttara Phalguni, and Uttara Phalguni occupies two signs, Leo and Virgo. And how it is different is something that I have talked briefly in this podcast. But at the same time, I have also shared a beautiful story. And this story is especially for all those who are in rush to become a Buddha. So listen to this story, and who knows, one of you may really resonate with the message of this story. So let's begin.
Nothing is going to change my love for you. You ought to know by now how much I love you. Uttara Phalguni reminds me of this beautiful song sung by George Benson. Leo is a sign of love. Virgo is a sign of logic. Uttara Phalguni spreads its wings in both the signs, Leo and Virgo. The first pada of Uttara Phalguni falls in Leo, the sign of love. The remaining three padas fall in Virgo sign, the sign of logic. Leo is love and love is intelligent. Remember, the most intelligent thing we can do is love, not reason. The more you are in love, the more love is within and around you. The more you become love, the more you become intelligent. The source of intelligence is love. Love sharpens intelligence. Fear dulls it. Moon in the first pada of Leo sign fire ups the matters of love and quest for intelligence, whereas natives having moon in the second, third and fourth pada of Virgo sign are more attracted towards intellectualism. The inner feeling of natives having moon in Uttara Phalguni can be expressed in these words. The words are: I am attracted to intelligence. I need you to outsmart me. Make me feel like I could learn from you, grow with you. Do that, and you can have me forever. Virgo is logic, and logic is intellectual. Understand the difference. Leo Sun is divine intelligence, while Mercurian Virgo is intellectual by nature. And so the result of moon in Uttara Phalguni differs based on which sign the moon occupies. If Uttara Phalguni moon is in Leo, then the person is intelligent. And if Uttara Phalguni moon is in Virgo, then the person is intellectual. Remember, there is a difference between being intelligent and being intellectual. Intelligence is natural, it is of the heart. Intellectualism is of the head. It is filled with logic and more logic, and logic is dry, very dry. There are three centers from which all your actions come: head, the heart, and the being. The head is the most superficial. It has to think about things. Even if you fall in love, the head thinks about it. Am I really in love? And if it decides that yes, it seems you are in love, then the head is going to propose to the woman. I think I am in love with you. But thinking is base. Man functions from the head. It has its utilities. It has created all the sciences and all the technologies and all the nuclear bombs, and perhaps is bringing a global suicide soon. The woman functions from the heart. She cannot say, I think I love you. It has never been heard in the whole history of humanity. She simply says, I love you. Thinking plays no part. The heart is enough unto itself. It does not need any help from the head. The head is a good mechanic, a technician, but you cannot live your life joyously just by being a mechanic, a technician, or a scientist. The head has no qualities. There are no capacities for joy, for blissfulness, for silence, for innocence, for beauty, for love, for all that makes the life rich. It is the heart. And so if you ask me, then Uttara Phalguni moon in Leo sign is much superior to Uttara Phalguni moon in Virgo sign, simply because Leo is all about the heart and Virgo is all about the head. And if one has to choose between the head and the heart, one should choose the heart, because all the beautiful values of life belong to the heart. The sign of Leo is connected with divine intelligence, and that is why Leo rules the 5th house in the Kala Purush Kundali. Uttara Phalguni moon in Leo sign is also a sign of true intelligence. Yesterday Mohan asked, what is intelligence? How would you define intelligence? The answer is simple. Not to carry the past is intelligence. To die to the past every moment is intelligence. To remain fresh and innocent is intelligence. To live 100% in the now moment is intelligence. To listen to the voice of your heart is intelligence. Intelligence is born when your intellect is in tune with your heart. Heart is the source of intelligence. Sun represents this heart, and it is necessary to remember that the mind is always lost in the past or in the future, whereas the heart is always in the present moment. It has to be in the present moment, because if the heart stops beating, then you are dead. So heart is always beating, living. A man of awareness looks joyous because he follows the beat of his heart. He is living with joy. Leo Uttara Phalguni moon person can live with joy because such a moon receives the qualities of Leo. Virgo Uttara Phalguni moon person cannot live with joy because such a moon receives the qualities of Virgo, and Virgo is too much engaged in the head, and the head cannot become the source of joy. Head can only become the source of miseries. Leo Uttara Phalguni moon native can do well in the field of drama, acting, singing, painting, dancing. This is a good placement for progressing in the field of creative arts. This is also a good placement for social activists. Virgo Uttara Phalguni moon native can do well in complex technical fields such as computer engineering, structural engineering, accountancy, banking, wealth management, retail business. This is a good placement for progressing in the field of technical, mechanical, retail or banking profession. This is also a good placement for politicians, since in today's politics you need more of the head and less of the heart. Leo Uttara Phalguni moon has given birth to many good doctors and healers. Skillful hands, certain healing power is seen. In fact, many Reiki masters are born with this placement. Moon in Uttara Phalguni gives a great desire to heal others, to educate others, to spread the light of consciousness, to help this world become a much better place to live. Virgo Uttara Phalguni moon fires up the tendency to analyze. Such a native is good for research work, investigation. If this Virgo moon is with Venus or Mercury, then it works well in the field of literature, accountancy and drama. Uttara Phalguni is a nakshatra that loves to accumulate knowledge, to learn new subjects. Uttara Phalguni is indeed a scholarly nakshatra. Many scholars are born with moon in Uttara Phalguni. Moon in Uttara Phalguni gives birth to the desire of attaining scholarship. If other planets are well placed, then the native succeeds in getting scholarship on his own merits. In the chart of an evolved soul, moon in Uttara Phalguni can also give intense desire to attain wisdom, especially if this Uttara Phalguni moon is in Leo sign. It is necessary to understand that all nakshatras ruled by sun signify a strong inclination towards spirituality. However, since Uttara Phalguni falls in Leo and Virgo, the result differs based on the quality of the sign. In Leo, the spiritual quest is of the heart. In Virgo, the spiritual quest is of the head. To make this more clear, I will share a beautiful story with you all. Once it happened, one fine morning, a man born with Virgo Uttara Phalguni moon asked Buddha, "Is there a God?" Buddha answered, "No, there is no God." On the same day, another man born with Virgo Uttara Phalguni moon asked the same question, "What do you think of God? Is there any God?" Buddha answered, "Yes, there is God." Late evening, an old man came. He was born with Leo Uttara Phalguni moon. He said to Buddha, "There are people who believe in God and people who don't. I myself need to know if God exists. Please help me. This time, Buddha did not speak. Instead, he gave the answer through his actions. He sat beneath the tree, he closed his eyes, and he went into deep meditation. The old man thought that this must be the answer. So he too sat down, closed his eyes, and started meditating. After a while, the old man opened his eyes, touched the feet of Buddha, and said, "Your compassion is great. You have given me the answer. I will always remain obliged to you." And then happily he left. Ananda asked Buddha, "To the first man you answered, God doesn't exist. To the second man you answered, God exists. And to the last man you said nothing but just went into meditation. I don't understand your answers. Please help me understand." Buddha smiled and said, "The first and the second man just wanted an answer. They were not seekers. The last man was a seeker. He wanted to experience God and not just know God. He was able to relate. He was a seeker." So you see, moon in Uttara Phalguni has a certain spiritual quest. But Virgo moon is just a believer, a man who will keep asking many questions, while a Leo moon native born in Uttara Phalguni is a seeker. He will not just ask question, but rather would like to know the answer through his own experience, his own seeking. An intellectual person with moon in Virgo just want to have a ready-made answer. But remember, truth cannot be transferred. And that is what Gautam Buddha says. Buddha says, truth is not transferable. I cannot give you the truth. Nobody else can give it to you. But you can attain it on your own. You have to seek. Buddha wants seekers, and the seeker is a total different phenomena. The believer is not a seeker. The believer wants to avoid everything. That's why he believes. The believer is always in search of a Masiha, somebody who can chew for him. But if I eat, your hunger is not going to be satisfied. Nobody can save you except yourself. You have to be a seeker and not a believer. Leo moon in Uttara Phalguni is a seeker. He has the depth of understanding which a typical Virgo person lacks. That is why Leo moon in Uttara Phalguni is of much higher level than a Virgo moon in Uttara Phalguni. A Leo moon Uttara Phalguni native follows his heart. If such a native is an evolved soul, then his focus is on purifying his heart. Remember, you can heal yourself only when your heart is open and flowering with joy. Healing is closely connected with the state of your heart. If you are unwell, if you are having certain chronic diseases, then you should focus on opening your heart, and your heart will open only when it is purified. That is how the great Sufi saint Rumi says, "A pure heart open to the light will be filled with the very essence of truth." Virgo moon in Uttara Phalguni natives should focus on purifying their heart. To purify the heart is the only purpose that God has created this human life. Always remember this, my fellows. How to purify your heart? That must be your next question. And the answer is by chanting day and night with consistency, with love, with devotion. The great spiritual master and disciple of Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganesh Puri says, chanting is a significant and mysterious practice. It is the highest nectar, a tonic that fully nourishes our inner being. Chanting opens the heart and makes love flow within us. It releases such intoxicating inner bliss and enthusiastic splendor that simply through the nectar it generates, we can enter the abode of the self. So beautiful and so true. Only an evolved soul can truly understand the beauty of these words. Virgo moon in Uttara Phalguni native should stress more on chanting rather than chattering. Mohan asked, why you insist these natives to chant more? Because moon in the sign of Virgo, that is in the sign of logic, brings forth the nature of wasting time in chatting, gossiping, and so these natives need to chant. Because only through chanting can they overcome the ever buzzing mind and the tendency to perceive everything from a logical mindset. Virgo is an intellectual sign, but the problem with intellectualism is that it is completely trapped in the head. It is all logic, and God cannot be realized. Love cannot be realized by logic, but only by love. And love happens only when you start moving from your head to your heart. This wonderful journey begins only when you have the fuel which comes through the source of chanting. Mantra chanting is therapeutic. It energizes the body, purifies the mind, and cleans the soul. To experience God, to experience the divine, you have to focus on chanting the holy mantra by focusing on your breathing. Please take to this chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is our only request. You are not losing anything, but you are gaining very much simply by chanting. It will cleanse your heart, says Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON. It is necessary that Virgo moon in Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra men and women try to get out of their head and get into their heart, that you think less and feel more. Virgo moon in Uttara Phalguni generally gives a good appealing body. Especially if the native is a female, then such a female looks very appealing. Her body is generally found to be in shape and she generally enjoys good health. The same is the case with males having moon in Uttara Phalguni. In general, Virgo moon sign or Virgo ascendant men and women always look youthful even when they cross the age of 50. Virgo is blessed with youthfulness. That is why Virgo is closely connected with virginity, since virginity is found only in young men and young women. A few days ago, Mohan asked a beautiful question. He asked, how does the head destroy the possibilities of love? The head is always goal-oriented. Virgo moon in Uttara Phalguni can make you more logical than otherwise. And logic is head, and head always has a goal, an agenda. Reminds me of a beautiful story. There was a man and he was interested in self-realization. All his life that was his desire, his goal. He was in search of a master who could help him achieve his desire. A master who could teach him meditation. So he went from one master to another, but nothing was happening. Years went by. He was tired, exhausted. Then someone told him, if you really want to find a master, you will have to go to the Himalayas. He lives in some unknown parts of the Himalayas. You will have to search for him. One thing is certain, he is there. Nobody knows exactly where, because whenever somebody comes to know of him, he moves from that place and goes even deeper into the Himalayan ranges. The man was getting old, but he gathered courage. For 2 years, he had to work to earn money for the journey. Then he made the journey. Those were the old times, so he had to ride on camels and horses and then go on foot, and then finally he reached the Himalayas. People said, yes, we have heard about that old man, very ancient. One cannot say how old he must be, maybe 300 years old or even 500 years old. Nobody knows. He lives somewhere, but the location cannot be given to you. Nobody is aware of where exactly you will find him, but he is there. If you search hard, you are bound to find him. The man searched and searched and searched. For 2 years he was roaming in the Himalayas, tired, exhausted, dead exhausted, living only on wild fruits, leaves and grass. He had lost much weight, but he was intent that he had to find this man. Even if it took his life, it would be worth it. And can you imagine? One day he saw a small hut, a grass hut. He was so tired that he was not even able to walk, so he crawled. He reached the hut. There was no door. He looked in. There was nobody inside. And not only was there nobody inside, but there was every sign that for years there had been nobody inside. You can imagine what would have happened to that man. He fell on the ground. Out of sheer tiredness, he said, I give up. He was lying there under the sun in the cool breeze of the Himalayas, and for the first time, he started feeling so blissful. He had never tasted such bliss. Suddenly he started feeling full of light. Suddenly all thoughts disappeared. Suddenly he was transported, and for no reason at all, because he had not done anything. And then he became aware that somebody was leaning over him. He opened his eyes. A very, very ancient old man was standing in front of him. And the ancient old man, the master, smiled and said, So you have come. Have you something to ask me? The man said, No. The ancient old man laughed, a great belly laugh, which was echoed by the valleys. And he said, So now you know what meditation is. And the man said, Yes. What a beautiful, insightful story. Meditation is a let go. You sit for meditation with a purpose to achieve something, and meditation cannot happen. The moment you drop the desire, the destination is met. Then there is a joy to it. Then there is a song to it. The assertion which came from that man's deepest core of being, I give up. In that very giving up, all goal-oriented mind efforts and desires disappeared. He dropped all his desires and goals, and in that very moment, he was no more the same person, and bliss showered on him. He was silent, he was a nobody, and he touched the ultimate stratum of non-being. Then he knew what meditation is. Then he knew what prayer is for, and then he was able to attain self-realization. The moment this man let go of his desire to meet the Master, to achieve self-realization, the moment he said, "I give up," the miracle happened. Meditation happened, God happened, love happened, and joy arose in his heart. The moment he let go, the doors opened and the Master appeared. His aura, his smile, his divinity, all that he had wished to experience appeared before him, and that was his moment of self-realization. The natives having moon in Uttara Phalguni should try to let go. And let go is possible only when you are no more caught up in your head, when you have started moving towards your heart. Happiness is not attained as long as you are trapped in your head, your logic, your so-called intellectualism. Happiness is attained only through the heart. And so it is only when you start following your heart, when you feel more and think less, that you can find happiness in your life. Head will never allow you to let go. The heart will. Listen to your heart. Your heart is beautiful. Always remember, it doesn't matter whether you are black, brown, white, or how you look. You will look always beautiful if your heart is beautiful. When your heart is beautiful, your face will be beautiful, your life will be beautiful, everything will be beautiful. Leo moon in Uttara Phalguni brings the desire of experiencing the royal lifestyle, the desire of living a luxurious life. Leo moon in Uttara Phalguni is more interested in seeking power. He wants to shine by attaining the peak of power. Whereas Virgo moon in Uttara Phalguni is more interested in attaining intellectualism. He wants to shine by showcasing the power of his intellectualism. Aryaman is the deity of Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra. Aryaman is the third son of Aditi, the mother of the Adityas, and is depicted as the mid-morning sun. Aryaman or Aryam means life partner or close friend. Hindu marriage oaths are administered with an invocation to Aryaman being the witness to the event. Aryaman also is the deity of the customs of hospitality. The tree Kaner or oleander, or also called as rose laurel, is the tree related to Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra. By planting Kaner or Kaner, you will be able to receive the grace of the scholarly nakshatra, Uttara Phalguni, ruled by the source of our galaxy, the Master Sun. Always remember, worshipping Lord Sun every morning by offering Ardhya and reciting the 12 Surya Mantras can strengthen the sun in your birth chart. I will now recite the 12 powerful Surya Mantras. Om Mitraya Namaha, Om Ravaye Namaha, Om Suryaya Namaha, Om Bhanave Namaha, Om Khagaya Namaha, Om Pushneya Namaha, Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha, Om Maricheya Namaha, Om Adityaya Namaha, Om Arkaya Namaha, Om Bhaskaraya Namaha. Remember, Sun is a celibate, meaning Sun never had sex. Sun is not behind sexual pleasures. Venus is behind sexual pleasures. And so Venus considers Sun as enemy. Venus and Sun are enemies of each other. Sun is a yogi, Venus is a bhogi. Bhog is always a limited version because after having sex, you are lost, you are tired. Yog is always unlimited version because the more you meditate, the more you gain strength. So see the contrast. In case of Venus, the more you have sex, the more you become tired. In case of Sun, the more you do yoga, the more you gain strength. You have to decide which one to choose, bhog or yog. Based on what you choose is what decides your future course of births and rebirths. There is absolutely nothing wrong in being a bhogi. What is wrong is that when you remain a bhogi, you don't realize that enough is enough. Reminds me of a story. It happened so that God is making all the creatures of the earth and is giving out sex lives to each animal. So first he turns to the human. I am giving you 10 years of good sex life, says God. The man's face falls. Is that all? He asks. I only have so much to give you, fellow, says God. Then he turns to the monkey and says, I am giving you 20 years of good sex life. The monkey says, oh, I don't really need that much. 10 years would be more than enough for me. The man standing nearby overhears this and says excitedly, I will take it. I will take those extra 10 years. All right, says God, you got it. He then turns to the lion. I am going to give you 20 years of good sex life. The lion replies, you know God, I really think I would be happier with just 10. The man starts hopping up and down. I will take them. I will take other 10 years. You can have them, says God to the man. He turns to the donkey and says, now I am going to give you 20 years of a good sex life. Is that all right with you? To tell you the truth, says the donkey, I would also be satisfied with just 10. God gives the man the other 10 years too. The story explains why a man has 10 years of good sex life, 10 years of monkeying around, 10 years of lying about it, and then 10 years of making an ass out of himself. This is what happens when you remain a bhogi. When you continue to see more and more sexual pleasures, there is no end to this. And that is how you never come out of this birth and death cycle. Remember, if a person has known only sex as life, he is stupid, he is an idiot. Sex is not bad. Being a bhogi is also not bad because at some stage of life, we all have been in the stage of a bhogi. But what differentiates the wise from the idiot is that the wise moves on while the idiot remains a bhogi, continues to seek more and more sex and sexual pleasures. Sun is a celibate. He is truly free. He is God. He is the source of this whole universe. To such a divine Sun, the Lord of Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra, I humbly prostrate and pray that may his blessings shower upon me and all my close followers. Love to all my close followers. Stay blessed and remember to take a bath in the early morning blissful sun rays. Sitting and receiving the early sun rays, recite the name of the Lord. Listen to the humming of the birds. Watch the flowers dancing in the cool breeze. What else more is needed to enjoy this beautiful human life? Nothing more but love. Love and only love. In simple words, in the domain of Leo, Uttara Phalguni is very creative and intelligent, while in the domain of Virgo, Uttara Phalguni is very technical and intellectual. Both have the potential to earn money and fame. However, when it comes to joy, when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to love, Leo moon in Uttara Phalguni is the winner, because you cannot buy love. You have to experience it, you have to feel it, and to feel you need to follow your heart and not the head. Virgo is head, Leo is heart. It is possible for Virgo Uttara Phalguni to move towards the heart. In fact, it is possible for all human beings, because heart comes naturally to us. All you need is to think less and feel more. Meditate. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः।